Ladies and gentlemen, this is huge news. I will do a live stream on this Durham Probe Special Counsel victory at around 10 p.m., probably like 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. So be here at 9:30 p.m. for the live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, this is huge news. Durham won the first part of the fight. Durham's motion to compel has been granted. So this is the latest update from an attorney, Technofog, on Twitter. I don't have a Twitter profile. I don't like Twitter, but every so often you get great profiles on Twitter. And he's at the forefront of Durham Probe documents, court documents. And he gives fantastic legal analysis on all of these victories that Durham Probe Special Counsel is achieving. If the shoe were on the other foot and this was the political equivalent or victory obtained by Democrats, the entire media would be talking about this because this is fantastic. Privileged Fusion GPS emails and documents will be provided to the court for in-camera review. The court will then determine whether the privileges apply. Durham will get the documents. So if Durham's going to get the documents, and of 1,455 pages, only 18 actually involve attorneys, you better believe that almost all of the documents are going to be utilized in court. Now, why is that important? He can utilize these documents in conjunction or to correlate them with classified data or to bolster the fact that these people conspired against Trump. This isn't rocket science. This is what takes place in American politics. The left of the political spectrum, the Democratic Party, media, ladies at The View, morally superior, wonderful, liberal Democrats who are, professionals and academics, and they're really, really great people. They're moral, wonderful people. They are clueless. They are absolutely ignorant and clueless as to what happened in 2015 and 2016 and 2017 against Trump. They don't care. What they have been told is that there was suspicion, there was a reason to investigate Trump, and that's it. They do not understand that the Clinton campaign and the Democratic Party purchased the Steele dossier, and they outsourced attorneys. They hired and paid attorneys, tech executives, tech researchers, Fusion GPS, opposition research firms. They actually paid people from other countries to work with people from yet more countries to obtain dirt on Trump. It is exactly the type of interference that they claim Trump was engaged in. However, they were the ones who really interfered. They were the ones who paid for dossiers and infiltrated or spread those lies within the dossiers, within compilation of gossip, hearsay, innuendo, conjecture into the United States government and into media. So half the country doesn't understand all of this. That's why it's a huge deal when Fusion GPS claims we can't give you 1,455 pages, or the Clinton campaign claims that we can't give you this because that was legal. We were working with Law Firm 1 and Fusion GPS for legal advice. And that's why they got fined by the FEC. So hit subscribe to this channel. Huge, huge development. You cannot, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot do what they did and then claim attorney-client privilege. You can't work with an attorney. You can't work with an attorney or a law firm and commit crimes or have your attorneys do unethical things on your behalf and then claim attorney-client privilege, claim consulting and legal advice. AOC did the same thing in her, with the FEC complaining against her. Consulting advice. Consulting needs to be consulting. Legal advice needs to be legal advice. It cannot be you're going ahead, you're buying a dossier, you're spreading the dossier to the Federal Bureau of Investigation to have them investigate Trump. Or you're claiming that Trump has a secret server and he's communicating with the Kremlin, and you're getting the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or the Central Intelligence Agency, or the Department of Justice to investigate Trump. That can't happen. That's illegal, and that's exactly what took place. Right here, government motion to compel production of documents for in-camera review, oral arguments heard and granted. So Durham will be getting privileged Fusion GPS emails and documents. It's game over. You're now looking at, because Glenn Simpson and everyone associated with him, most of the people are on record or on congressional, they've testified in Congress. You have FBI officials, you have attorneys. That's why Michael Sussman was indicted. He committed perjury, or I should say he lied to the FBI. But the difference between lying to the Federal Bureau of Investigation with like George Papadopoulos or others is that they were set up and framed, and then they got them, they within this like tornado of a fabricated investigation, they got Papadopoulos on some kind of like email that had nothing to do with Trump being installed by the Kremlin, because he wasn't. Because the whole thing was fabricated. What they did, they fabricated a myth, then they investigated the myth, then they said, you can't possibly deny that we needed to investigate the myth that we created. How dare you? It was never national security. The notion that the DNC email showing Bernie Sanders, yes, Bernie Sanders was cheated, you will hear this every day for the next 20 years from me. The notion that Bernie Sanders was cheated and that was a plot by another country to inform you, only an imbecile would believe that. So, you can read the legal documents here. The court will determine, okay, so he's going to get the documents. The court order granted immunity for the witness, Fusion GPS witness, a newly unsealed motion to compel a testimony. So this person is going to testify, and, God bless this individual. I mean, the thing is, if you're not testifying now, you're in legal trouble. If you're not, it's like you're pretty stupid if you're not testifying. You better be working with Durham or the Durham Probe Special Counsel. The best thing for Michael Sussman would be to go ahead and find some kind of a plea deal. Now, every time he kind of pushes back or fights back, see, Durham he probably wanted all that communication, but every time they say, well, you know what, you can't let Christopher Steele, you can't let this privileged communication, this is all legal advice, it comes back to haunt them. Michael Sussman initially stated, well, that's not true, I wasn't providing any legal advice for anyone. Then the Clinton campaign and Fusion GPS said, yeah, well, our information is protected under attorney-client privilege. And so the tech researchers and the tech executive, they did the same thing. Well, what does it matter if Sussman lied? We had an existing contract with the United States government. Aha! The contract that these tech researchers had was being funded, or they had a funding operation with the Department of Defense, so they were applying for funding. They were either applying for funding or they were actually being funded by the Department of Defense, DARPA, the Pentagon. So it's so convoluted. I'm following the story. I'm like one of the top people on YouTube following this story, and even I get confused. So you have last minute and a half of this. Check this out. You have tech researchers at universities in Georgia either obtaining funding or trying to obtain funding from the Department of Defense as they're engaging in surveillance of Trump Tower, his apartment, a healthcare provider, and the executive office of the president while he's in the Oval Office, being instructed by a tech executive who works with Michael Sussman, who's being paid by the Clinton campaign, all to obtain derogatory information. And while they're conspiring, there's emails saying, we're going to have to use every dirty trick we can because this won't fly in the face of scrutiny. And Lord knows what type of communication they have within about 1,500 pages, 1,455 pages. I mean, they're obviously, they're speaking to one another saying, gee, how can we obtain as derogatory data? It doesn't have to be true. It just has to be incriminating to get the United States government to investigate Trump. And that is illegal under 18 U.S. Code 371, 18 U.S. Code 1031. It was never national security for James Clapper or Brennan to say we're highly to moderately confident the Kremlin wanted Trump, and therefore the DNC emails were a plot to let everybody know, because Democrats are so corrupt, the truth about them is a plot from a foreign government to make people vote Republican. Anyway, big news. He's going to get all those documents. Hit subscribe right now, and this is going to lead to other indictments. Numerous people committed perjury. This isn't rocket science. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe. Be here, ladies and gentlemen, around 9:30, 9:45 tonight. Thank you for the live stream. And big segment on the Stock Market Crash channel. They think that the Fed and media, it's really hilarious. They're like, oh, yes, they can raise interest rates while the GDP contracted and not get us into a recession next quarter. Give me your thoughts below. They're out of their minds. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash below, and be here for the live stream tonight.